It's no problem for Porsche buyers to spend an extra 20% over sticker price in the current market. Today, we're going to go over the top 20 new cars priced the worst and people buying them at those exorbitant prices. But we'll also talk about the deals that can be had if you're buying a new car. There are quite a few cars priced below MSRP, believe it or not. It's starting to happen, guys. And let's start celebrating here because prices are dropping outside of Porsche's pretty much. So we're about IC cars, 20 new cars priced the highest over MSRP and 15 priced below. If you enjoy this sort of content, make sure to smash the like button. IC Cars always has some really interesting articles for the buyer to help make the best decision. And I'm here to kind of translate their raw data as best as possible. So the average new car price is priced 7.2% above MSRP. So it's still happening. However, it's a drop from 8.9% above MSRP 1 year ago. So prices are starting to come down versus MSRP. Are they still going down across the board? Well, we'll find out. Many hardtop and Ford Porsche models are selling like hotcakes, and apparently they just, the demand is so high that they're 20% over MSRP. There are 4 electric cars. So I've been making a lot of videos lately on electrification. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon for my Sunday morning EV news update. But anyways, there are 4 electric cars. Kona EV, which I actually like that vehicle quite a bit. Now, I don't know if the ones on the list today are the old Kona EV or the new Kona EV. The new Kona EV is the best Kona out of them all. It's just kind of expensive, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, look, 4 electric cars are priced below MSRP right now. It's a very interesting situation going on. The gap between dealer pricing and MSRP is slowly narrowing, with EVs averaging the smallest premium of any category vehicles at 6.1% over MSRP. And there are vehicles like the Taycan from Porsche that are blowing that out of proportion. I think in reality, most of these are pretty close to sticker price. All right, let's get right into the average new car price versus MSRP. MSRP is a manufacturer's suggested retail price, right? Traditionally, before all hell broke loose just a few years ago, you would never ever pay MSRP. You're always paying below MSRP. Pandemic happened, parts shortages, inventory shortages, the used car market went crazy. So all these things are going on, and it's allowed the dealers to charge kind of whatever they want because the production of cars haven't been, and they're still not where they were in 2019 and prior. All right, so that's why the prices are up so much and people really don't have a choice. Prices versus MSRP January 2024 right here. Here's January 2023. And then average price. So if we look at average price, even though price versus MSRP has gone down to 7% from 9%, cars are still costing more. How does that happen? It's because 2024 models will have a higher sticker price from the manufacturer than 2023 models. But let's get into the more fun stuff. Hybrids have a really high interest right now. Gas cars have a high interest, and look at the EVs starting to drop. Is Tesla involved into this? I don't think so. But we know Tesla prices have been dropping as well compared to last year, and a lot more probably than what we're seeing on this list today. So keep that into consideration. SUVs still selling at high rates. Trucks still selling at high rates versus MSRP, but not as much as last year. Sedans, check this out. Maybe demand for sedans is going back up. Quite interesting that we still have an 8% increase for sedans compared to just 7% for SUVs. I am actually a little surprised that hybrid cars are fairly low here. Now, does that include hybrid SUVs? I would assume so. But let's get into, there we go. Excludes Tesla. Just had to Scroll down a little bit more. Remember, the overall average of prices of cars over MSRP is 7.2%. Look at what's happening at the top. Many hardtop, people are paying 25% over MSRP, nearly $40,000 when the average MSRP is $30,000. People really must want their mini hardtops right now. I saw something recently on the Taycan, even though the Taycan's way up there and people paying ridiculous prices as well as other Porsches too. But I saw that you could buy a used Taycan for half MSRP fairly recently. Don't know if that's just a sweet deal or if that's getting pretty average at this point, but we know used EV prices are all over the place. So we'll find that out on new prices down below here in a little bit. But yeah, Taycan has huge demand between the sedan and the wagon. But all Porsche seemingly, I don't see actually 911 in here. Every other Porsche in the lineup has huge demands. The SUVs, the Cayenne, the Macan, well over 20% over MSRP or average MSRP. CT5V. Now, this is not the Blackwing. Don't confuse this for the Blackwing. I don't know why you would ever pay 20% over for the CT5V. I can understand the Blackwing because it is one of the best cars I've ever driven, but CT5V, I haven't driven the base V, but do you guys think it's worth 20% over MSRP? There's no way, in my opinion. It's not going to hold its value very well. Actually, most of these, right, luxury cars do not hold their value very well. And it's not like we're looking at 911s here. The Taycan's value has proven to drop on the used market, and the Cayenne and the Macan, I don't think are going to hold their value all that well, especially when you're paying so much over MSRP. The market for Porsches right now, I just don't understand. The 718, also 20% over MSRP. And it's just, I don't know. I guess if you're a Porsche buyer, you have FU money and you're just like, I don't care what the price is. Just give me the car I want. Is that what's going on? I'm not quite sure. Corolla Cross Hybrid sneaking into the top 10. That comes out of the Alabama plant. Production isn't anywhere near where it should be to meet the demand, right? And dealers are marking it up 20%. Okay, average MSRP on that car is $28,000. People are spending $33,000, $34,000 on it. First BMW outside of Mini, that is, on the list, the X3M, selling for $90,000. Cadillac CT4V. I just drove the CT4V, and it is not worth anywhere close to $66,000. You can get a CT4 Blackwing for around that price, and maybe even below that on the used market. I just don't understand what's going on with the Cadillac sedans right now. If you guys understand what's going on, the CT4V, I'd pick a few other cars over that without hesitation. It was fine. It was a good car, but a good car at like 45, 50 grand, not 60 plus grand. All right, we already talked about the Cayman or the 718. The Boxster, actually. We talked about the 718 Boxster. The Boxster has a higher take rate, or higher, should I say, higher demand, seemingly, than the coupe version. I'd be taking the Boxster. I'd take the drop top here in Florida, of course. GV70, we have our first Genesis on the list, commanding a 19% increase over MSRP. You know, I don't know what to say about that. The GV70 is fantastic, but not worth 20% over MSRP. More Minis flooding the list. We have the Countryman and the Clubman. Minis selling super high demand right now. LS500 again. What's with the sedans? LS500, it's old, no V8. It's nothing like the old LS430. LS460 was an okay sedan, but it started losing its touch in that generation. LS500, it's totally different. So I don't know what's going on there either. GLE, I just drove the GLS 600. Make sure to watch out that review. Ford Maverick, I get this. This pickup truck, it's cheap. It's one of the cheapest cars on the market, and it's a truck, and you can get it as a hybrid. So I can see why the demand for this is just insane. Similar to the Corolla Cross Hybrid, since there's nothing else that competes against it with a hybrid. And I guess you could say the same for Porsche. What competes with the Porsche? Porsche is in a league of its own, and that's why the dealers are laughing their way to the bank due to their unique styling and unique heritage. Mini is the same thing, right? There's no other car on the market even close to a Mini. Apparently, people are buying vehicles right now for the brand image, as seemingly with this, what we have on this list, the top 20, maybe brand image more than anything, or cutesiness. Another Genesis on the list, an RS6 Avant. Again, there's not a lot of RS6 Avants out there, one. And two, it doesn't compete with anything really. I drove the V60 Polestar Tune from Volvo, and that's kind of like a poor man's version of this vehicle. And it's absolutely fantastic. I've only heard amazing things about the RS6 Avant. Some of them, like the Cadillacs, I don't get, unless they're lumping black wings into this list too, which could be. If they're lumping the black wings into this general V category, then the numbers are going to be super far off. So maybe that's what's going on. Electric vehicles, trucks, SUVs are falling below MSRP. Hyundai Kona Electric. I loved the Hyundai Kona Electric. The new one that I drove, watch my driving impressions on it. But the problem is the Model 3 now costs around this much. The Model 3 also has tax rebates. Now you can get the Kona Electric, lease it, and you'll still get the $7,500 tax rebate. But almost 5% off of MSRP. Deals are ready to be had there. Volkswagen ID4, it still is probably the least favorite electric vehicle I've tested on the channel for tons of different reasons. I kind of like the styling though. I don't mind the styling on the ID4, but yes, I'm not going to go into that vehicle, but there's a reason why it's priced pretty low. F-150 hybrid. Maybe Ford buyers are not that interested in hybrids, but we know Maverick hybrids are in super high demand. So not sure why the F-150 hybrids at below MSRP. Maybe it's just overpriced from the get-go. I mean, check that out. F-150 hybrid at $85,000. You can get a TRD Pro or a Capstone Tundra for quite a bit under that, right? So maybe that's what's going on there. They're trying to keep up with Toyota prices. Kia EV6 down almost 3%. The average MSRP is actually 53 grand. That's more than I was expecting. I like the EV6, but I'd take an Ioniq 5 over it. I would take an Ioniq 6 over it as well to get better efficiency. An Ioniq 6 here, guys, is a really good vehicle for the price. But again, you have to lease all these EVs to get that $7,500 tax credit. Otherwise, the ones that we see here, I mean, some of the ID4s, right, are built here in North America, but Kona, the Korean cars are all built over in Korea. Maxima, that car's still in production. Thought the Maxima was supposed to be killed off. Pacifica plug-in hybrid. I was really excited to test it. I didn't like it. It felt like an unfinished product, and I had tons of issues with the infotainment system on there. So, and it is really expensive. But the cool thing here, if you can deal with the unrefinement of the vehicle, in my opinion, if you can deal with that, lease it, get that $7,500 tax credit because it does qualify because it's that plug-in hybrid. Nissan Ariya, our first Japanese electric car here on the list, below MSRP 2%. I saw an ad this morning on my phone. It's something like 60 months, 0% financing on the Ariya. The problem is you don't get the tax credit. So I still recommend leasing an Ariya and getting the $7,500 tax credit with that loophole. Ioniq 5 down 2% as well. One of my favorite mainstream EVs, if not my favorite mainstream EV, to be honest. It's fantastic. And it's very roomy, like the interior. All right, Volkswagen Arteon. I've never driven an Arteon. I forget that they're still in production. It's kind of like the spiritual successor to the CC. Buick Envision, minus 1%. Now, is this our first gasoline-powered crossover / SUV? I think it is. Let's keep going. Infiniti QX80. Now, some of those buyers might be waiting for the new QX80, but here's the thing. The QX80, pretty much the same thing as a Nissan Patrol, or what we call the Nissan Armada, in the platinum trim. And so unless you need to have that Infiniti badge, why would you spend the extra money? So we're going to keep moving. There's just a few more on the list. 1500 Classic. So truck sales seem to be leveling off here. And you can actually still get those 1500 Classics below MSRP. Jeep Renegade, another truck. Probably those Jeep Renegade buyers have already bought their trucks and spent, I mean, the ones I see down here, half of them have probably double this amount of money poured into it in aftermarket accessories, upgrades, lifts, tires, all that stuff. Nissan Armada, okay, right behind the QX80 here. And yeah, average price around $63,000. It's floating around MSRP. Now, Levante, Gran Turismo for Maserati. These vehicles have some of the highest depreciation out there on the market. I just drove the Gran Turismo, but it was in Miami. I couldn't enjoy the new Gran Turismo. It's sexy as hell, though. Yeah, you can get it essentially at MSRP. Just keep in mind, Maseratis drop value quite fast, unless it's an MC20. That might actually hold its value since it's a supercar. Grand Wagoneer, the big SUVs are starting to fall in price. Another Silverado. So the Chevy 1500s are pretty close to the 1500 from Ram as well. So these vehicles holding their value pretty poor at the dealership, and that's what we want to see. We want to see these cars drop in price. Interest rates are still extraordinarily high, which makes buying all-time expensive average vehicles pretty difficult for the average buyer. So let me know what's most surprising for you guys there for used cars. Here are the luxury brands that are still in demand, and here's the average price for them versus MSRP. We knew Porsche, we just talked about that, 20% up. Mini, doesn't surprise me. We already talked about them with the hardtop in the number 1 position, 17% up. Genesis, how surprising is that? Genesis up there in the top 3 that people are shelling out 13% more. Lexus at 11%, Land Rover at 13%, BMW at 10%, Benz at 10%, Lincoln at 10%. These luxury buyers seemingly are happy to be getting ripped off. Audi over, Ford, well, okay, so here are some of the mass market brands. Ford, 9% over. Toyota, almost 9% over. Subaru, almost 8% over. Cadillac, 7% over. The overall average, again, 7.2% over MSRP. Who's last? Infiniti. God dang, Infiniti. They're banking on the new QX80 to do well for them, but I don't know. I have high hopes for it. It looks gorgeous, but Acura also really low price over MSRP, even though Honda is having really good profits right now overall. These brands that have MSRP or slightly over MSRP, that's telling me that demand is really cooling off for these brands below the industry average. So Infiniti and Acura, demand cooling. Buick, demand cooling. Chrysler, Honda. Here's another possibility. Acura and Honda, right? Same company. Maybe Honda and Acura are doing everything they can to keep their dealerships from selling way over MSRP. That's a possibility. You know why? Because Honda is still making tons of profit and they're selling at really high rates. Their hybrids, especially in the Honda end, hot. People want those CR-V hybrids. They want the new Civic hybrid. They want the new Accord hybrid. So that is very interesting because typically the cars at the bottom of the list are the ones that don't have a lot of demand. But I know Hondas have a lot of demand and their profits prove that. Mazda down here, not selling that high over MSRP. That's good for them because they have more premium products now, but they're trying to stay true to their mass market previous identity in a lot of ways. But yeah, I mean, I could pour over this for days. It's very fascinating to talk about, and I'll see you guys in the comments below. There's so much more information in this article. I'll put it in the comments in the description down below for you guys to check out. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you think any of those luxury vehicles are worth 20% over MSRP or somewhere around there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.